Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So this is your Southampton versus Manchester United preview on Saturday, 12:30 kick-off of course at St Mary's. Obviously you know it's the fourth game of the Premier League season. Give you a bit of team news going on into the game, and that we have got quite a few injury problems. Obviously we do know that Diego Dalot is out. I think he's out until after the international break, and that obviously we do know that Eric Bailly of course is out with a knee injury. He's out until Christmas time. Obviously, we do know that Luke Shaw, of course, is out with injury, so he's out for the game against Southampton. I think Luke Shaw's got some kind of hamstring problem, so he did reportedly say that Luke Shaw, could be out for at least up to a month and that. And I did say I was hopeful that his injury is not too severe, because we do know that Luke Shaw is a very imperative player in that. But Luke Shaw had actually sustained this injury, in our 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace. But yeah, he could be out for up to a month. Obviously, we do know that Fossil Mensah is a long-term absence. Obviously, we do know that Anthony Martial, of course, is out with thigh injury. So I think also Anthony Martial is a doubt as well. So we have got quite a few injuries. Obviously, I do believe it will be either Marcus Rojo or Ash Young, of course, that will be playing at that left back position, following the injury of Luke Shaw and that. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, with the injuries especially, will rotate the squad and that. With Anthony Martial, I think it did say earlier on this week that his injury, was going to be further assessed in that. He did reportedly say, we know now that anywhere that Sanchez has made his loan move to Inter Milan, but he did reportedly say, before the loan deal had been agreed, that actually, Anthony Martial's thigh injury, could have put Sanchez's loan move to Inter Milan in doubt, but obviously, that wasn't the case and that. But he has got a thigh injury, Anthony Martial. I don't know how long he's out for. I hope his injury, is not too severe, because I think, overall Martial this season, started the season, fantastically well and that. Obviously, it did get confirmed at the start of the season that obviously Martial had been given that number 9 shirt, so he's going to be playing more centrally this season. And I think Martial, seems to be more effective in that central position anyway, and that got proven, throughout pre-season that, that Martial, seems to be more effective from that central position. Obviously, provided and got an assist against Crystal Palace for Daniel James's goal. Also, scored his 50th goal against Wolves and Manchester United and that. And I think this is now Martial's 5th season as a Manchester United player. Obviously, he's under contract with the club until 2024. I think it is, because we give him a new 5-year deal back in the January transfer window and that. And obviously, we paid quite a bit of money for him. We got him from Monaco for £36 million, potentially rising up to £57 or £58 million, based on goals and achievements and that. But Martial has still not quite emulated that level yet, but he is only 23 years of age, and he has still got a lot of development in him. So I'm very hopeful that his thigh injury is not too severe in that. But yeah, when Martial's at his best, his speed's very good. I think his finishing assets and that's improved. And even though Martial was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season, I still said at that point, he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. I do believe also Lee Grant, of course, is still injured, so we have got quite a few injuries, to be quite honest with you. And but I do believe also in this game against Southampton, Angel Gomez, should be giving her the chance as well. I think Lingard, should be dropped in this game, because I think he has been quite inconsistent so far this season. Jesse Lingard. Lingard was also inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season, but I still said at that point, like I said about Martial and Rashford, I still believe he's the long-term solution for Manchester United, and that he's still a long-term solution for Manchester United, is Jesse Lingard, because he's highly experienced. I think he's 27 or 28 years of age in that. But I do believe Angel Gomez, should be get given the chance in this game. With Mason Greenwood, he's obviously so far made 3 substitute appearances. Obviously has not yet started a game from the start and that. But I do believe, like I said, Greenwood is going to be a big part of the squad this season, just like I think Gomez is. Chong as well, should be giving his opportunity. But yeah, I think he will rotate the squad will Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But it's very imperative, that we do get back to winning ways. And that, obviously, we suffered a 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace. It was the first time we've lost to Crystal Palace in Premier League history. Obviously, in our first 2 games, we picked up 4 points. Obviously, beating Chelsea comfortably by 4-0. Drawing with Wolves 1-1 and that. And I have seen slight improvements, this season in Manchester. I have seen slight improvements, from last season, because last season was a huge disappointment. We finished sixth. Obviously, we didn't win many silverware, and of course, we failed to qualify for the Champions League and that. But yeah, I have seen slight improvements. We do look better in that attacking third of the pitch, and that slightly. We have now got that pace up front, and that's obviously something we lacked last season. Was that pace? We've got Daniel James of electrifying pace, and that he's still a prospect and needs time to develop. So these still improvements needed in Daniel James' game. I think Daniel James will definitely participate in this game, even if he doesn't start against Southampton. That Daniel James is supposed to be more effective on the left, but when we have played him, we actually mainly put him on the right hand side and that. But he scored 2 goals so far this season. Like I said, Martial's got good pace. Rashford's got fantastic pace and that. I think prior to his penalty miss against Crystal Palace in the last game, I think Rashford started this season really, really well. And I think when Rashford's at his best, he's good at getting them runs in behind. He's good at receiving the ball and that. And I think he's finishing has also improved as Marcus Rashford's and that. But I do believe we do look much better in the attacking third of the pitch, and I do believe we look better defensively. We slightly look better defensively in that. And I think Harry Maguire has addressed our defensive deficiencies fantastically well. And I think Harry Maguire has got all the ingredients required to become a huge success at Manchester United and that. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice centre backs are Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, and that. I also do believe that Alex Tuanzebe, he will be a big part of the squad this season. I do believe he should get given his chance in that. Yeah, and I think he will be staying at Manchester United for this present time with Alex Tuanzebe, and he has gained some experience as Alex Tuanzebe. He will obviously he gained the experience from last season when he was on loan at Aston Villa and that, and he did really, really well. And I think he can replicate this at Manchester United, can Alex Tuanzebe. But like I said, it's Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, our first choice centre backs. Obviously, with Harry Maguire, he's obviously the best option than what we've got in our backline at the moment. And analysing it, we have got a lot of central defenders. We've got Victor Lindelof, and with Victor Lindelof, these question marks around him, can he keep the consistency up? And I do believe, Victor Lindelof, can keep the consistency up. I know he didn't do great in the Crystal Palace game and that, but I think prior to that, he's mainly done good this season so far. He was good throughout pre-season. He does vast improvements in his second season with Manchester United and that. Obviously in his first season didn't really settle in. Lindelof, lacked that consistency, but I thought there was vast improvements in his second season. And I think, what he did in his second season, mainly this season, he has replicated that, of course. So I think Lindelof, he's definitely, flourishing at Manchester United. But like I said, I think we should beat Southampton, to be quite honest. We've mainly got a good winning record against Southampton. We haven't actually lost at St Mary's, since August 2003 and that. So that's around 16, 17 years ago now. Obviously, Southampton haven't had a great start to the season themselves. Obviously, I think in their 3 games, they've suffered 2 defeats and won 1. I think their last Premier League game, they beat Brighton 2-0. I think on their second game, lost to Liverpool 2-1. And I think on the opening day, they lost to Burnley 3-0. I think they also won early on this week against Fulham in the Carabao Cup by 1-0 The games last season between Southampton and Manchester United was 2-2 at St Mary's, and it actually was 3-2 to Manchester United at Old Trafford. So I think Man United should win this. I think Southampton have got a couple of injury problems themselves, but yeah, I think it should be an easier win for us. So I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will rotate the squad and that. But yeah, I think we're good enough to definitely win this game without a shadow of a doubt. But like I did say, with the injuries we have got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, will rotate a little bit. Obviously, I give you the news, didn't I, today, in regards to Chris Smalling. The big breaking news, came out about him. He's looking likely, he's going to be going on loan to Roma for this season. This was actually, stemming from Fabrizio Romano, who is obviously, an Italian journalist. And he's reliable, when it does come to an Italian news. He basically said this morning that Chris Smalling has agreed to go on loan with Roma for this season. Obviously, I think Roma will pay around just under £3 million to take Chris Smalling out on loan and that. But I think in that aspect, it's very, very good business for Manchester United, because I think these players here now that are no longer good enough to represent Manchester United, that are still obviously at the football club and that. But obviously Chris Smalling is one of them, and obviously Chris Smalling is down the pecking order now. He's behind the likes of Harry Maguire, he's behind Lindelof, of course. He's behind Alex Tuanzebe, and obviously it's the same with Phil Jones and that. But obviously we renewed Chris Smalling's contract, was it in December of last year, so he's still in the contract with the club until 2022. But Chris Smalling has been a long-serving player at Manchester United. He's been here 9 years. he's nearly been at the club a decade now with Smalling. We have seen glimpses of how good he can be over the years. He has been here and that, but he's nearly been here. He's nearly been here 10 years, and of course he has been here since the Alex Ferguson era. Smalling has made over 300 odd appearances for the club in all competitions. Obviously, he's won 2 Premier Leagues with us. He's won the FA Cup with us. He's won the League Cup with us, and of course he has won the Europa League with us. So I think it's very, very good for us, getting rid of Chris Smalling. I think a few teams have been in there for him. Obviously, that Everton had inquired about getting Chris Smalling on loan, just before deadline day, but actually, we'd turned that loan offer down and that. But it's looking likely, Chris Smalling is going to be making the move to Roma on a long-season loan. There is no, it is without a buy option, so there is obviously no buy option, or there's no obligation to make the deal permanent after the loan and that. So obviously, I think after his loan with Roma, he'll probably end up returning to Manchester United. But Chris Smalling's aging up now anyway. He's I think he's 29 years of age, Miss Smalling and that. But like I said, he's been a long-serving player with the football club and that. Just like Phil Jones, he's been another long-serving player with the football club. Jones has been here around 8 years now or something like that. I think it is. He's been here about 8 years now, as Phil Jones and that. He's been here since the Alex Ferguson era and that. I think he's made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions. We also give him a new long-term contract last season, but like I said, Smalling and Jones are going to find game time very, very difficult this season anyway, with the arrival of Harry Maguire, with the arrival of Harry Maguire, of course, and that. But yeah, it's Chris Smalling is going out on loan to Roma anyway. So I think it did say in Sky Sports this morning that that Chris Smalling had visited Manchester United's headquarters and to define his transfer exit away from the football club, and reportedly it did say sometime this evening I think it did say that he's set to undergo his medical in Italy and that. So it's good that we're getting rid of Chris Smalling, but I did say we need to get rid of at least one central defender anyway, because we have got a lot of central defenders and that. I do also believe that Rojo, he's another player that needs to leave the football club, and that Marcus Rojo does need to leave the football club. But he actually could be in line to start the game against Southampton, so because obviously Rojo can play centrally, can also play on the left hand side, and like I said, obviously we've got Luke Shaw injured, so Rojo could either start the game or he could even participate in this game and that. But we do know that he's served his 2 requirements at Manchester United, and I did say with Rojo, his Manchester United career has been mainly affected, with the amount of injuries he has sustained and that. So I think it's really taken its toll on him. Rojo obviously hasn't played this season in the Premier League, just like Chris Smalling hasn't played so far this season in the Premier League and that. But to be fair to Rojo, he was impressive throughout pre-season. Rojo's just got under 2 years left on his contract with the football club, don't forget. I think Everton, like I said, had inquired about getting him on deadline day and that, but obviously Everton, didn't manage to get him in that. But I do believe, most players, do need to be sold by the football club, because he is, still problematic players at Manchester United. Since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, we have seen around 6 players now depart the football club. Valencia left at the end of last season after he served 10 years with Manchester United. Obviously we saw Ander Herrera, of course, leave the football club and that. And obviously, it was a shame that we didn't recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. We saw Marian Fellaini, of course, leave the football club in January. Obviously, Romelu Lukaku left the football club a couple of weeks ago. He joined Inter Milan, and I think in that aspect it was good business for Manchester United. Generating a substantial amount for a flop basically, and obviously it was good to see us recoup the money that we did pay for Lukaku a couple of years ago, and that from Everton, and that was really, really good business from the football club. But Solskjaer, I think he did say this was in his first press conference prior to the Chelsea game. He explained the reason why we didn't recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku, obviously to prioritise the development of Mason Greenwood and that. So that's the reason why we didn't get a replacement for Romelu Lukaku. We also saw Joel Pereira go on loan to Hearts a couple of weeks ago as well and that. So quite a few players have departed the football club now, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. Another player I think needs to leave the football club is Matteo Darmian, because he's also served his 2 requirements at Manchester United now. Darmian needs to leave the football club and that. To be fair to Darmian, he hasn't really been given the chance as a Manchester United player, so I think he's another player that needs to go. So if we could get rid of Rojo and Darmian, I do believe we could generate maybe around 30 or 35 million pounds for their departure and that. So they're 2 players that need to leave the football club, and they're obviously 2 of our fringe players are Rojo and Darmian, so they're definitely 2 players that do need to leave the football club and that. The news in regards to Alexis Sanchez, I want to give you an update on it. Has now confirmed recently that Sanchez has joined Inter Milan on loan. Obviously, yeah, he has now joined Inter Milan on loan. He's undergone his medical and all that. It is a 10-month loan. It's a 10-month loan deal, and that it's cost Manchester United around £6 million to get him out on loan. It has still confirmed, despite him going on loan to Inter Milan, we will still pay the majority of Alexis Sanchez's wages in that. So I still believe he's the second highest paid player at the football club because I still believe we're paying Sanchez around 300 grand a week, and that Inter Milan of course are paying some of his wages. I think they've agreed to pay around 4.5 million a year of his salary and all that. So this is what Inter Milan of course have agreed. There is no obligation to buy for Inter Milan of course to make the deal permanent next summer and that, but it is a 10-month loan deal and that. So Sanchez of course now is reuniting with Romelu Lukaku at Inter Milan. But I'm very, very delighted about this, because I did say the only way we would have got rid of Sanchez is putting him out on loan and that, because I did say we would have found it very, very difficult, to offload Alexis Sanchez, permanently, due to his, substantial wage and that. Because obviously when Sanchez was at Man United, he was on 400 grand a week, I think it was potentially rising up to 500 grand a week, based on the image rights and the bonuses and that. And I did say, his wages were having a really bad effect on the football club and that. But yeah, he has gone on loan to Inter Milan. And I did say, Inter Milan anyway, were regarded basically as the favourites, to, sign Sanchez at least for the last couple of weeks in that, because Inter Milan had been in talks with Man United over the possible loan deal and that. But now finally, he has made his loan move to Inter Milan. Obviously, we do know like a host of Italian clubs were interested in him. Obviously, Roma had inquired about getting him about 3 weeks ago, but Sanchez had actually turned down a move to Roma. But I'm actually glad he's gone as Alexis Sanchez, and I think he'll probably succeed in Italy, to be quite honest, because the Italian football is not like our football, it's a bit slower, and I think, Sanchez will suit that sort of system, if you get what I mean and that. But, I'm also glad we got rid of him, because, he was very inconsistent for Manchester United, he was very, very disappointing, since his arrival from Arsenal back in January 2018 and that. Sanchez only managed 3 Premier League goals for us in 32 Premier League matches, and he only managed 5 goals in 45 games in all competitions. Sanchez still initially had I think he had just over 2 years left on his contract, so he was still under contract with the football club until 2022 and that. But he was really, really inconsistent. I was surprised how inconsistent he was, Sanchez. He didn't live up to expectations, as we all thought he would have done. The vast majority of Man United fans would have expected a lot more out of him. Reflecting back what he did at Arsenal, he had 4 good years with Arsenal, did Sanchez. He even played under Pep Guardiola's guidance, when he was younger at Barcelona and that, but just didn't, replicate many of this form at Manchester United. And Sanchez is obviously aging up now anyway. He's 30, nearly 31 years of age and that. So he was very, very inconsistent as a Manchester United player. When we first got him in, I thought he was going to make a similar impact, to how Robin van Persie did. Of course, when we got him back in 2012 from Arsenal and that, and you can quite frankly say, Van Persie won us the league back in 2013 in Alex Ferguson's last season, reflecting on where the amount of goals and that he scored. But yeah, I'm glad that Sanchez is gone now. Obviously, there has been a bit of change of scenery, because obviously I thought a couple of weeks ago, this was prior to the Wolves game, that there was a chance that Sanchez, could have remained at the football club, because Solskjaer said that at that time, Sanchez, he said Sanchez wanted to be part of the squad this season. He also basically said that he expects Sanchez to play a lot of games, once he's fit and that, because Sanchez obviously, had been below on his fitness anywhere, because obviously, Sanchez initially hasn't played for Man United so far this season. Obviously, wasn't even part of the pre-season squad and that, because obviously throughout pre-season, Sanchez had been on Copa America due with Chile, where he was actually quite impressive, and he actually sustained a hamstring injury and that. So he obviously anywhere had been working to full fitness with Sanchez and that. But basically, he'd been working at full fitness anyway, but he did even say if he had stayed at Manchester United, Sanchez, would have only played in the, Carabao Cup and the Europa League mainly anyway, so it'd have been pointless him staying at the football club anywhere. And obviously I did say Sanchez, he's behind the likes of Daniel James and Martial, he's behind the likes of Rashford and that. And Sanchez, is predominantly a left winger, but he's versatile, so he can play in various other positions and that. But I think he'll probably, do well with Inter Milan. Don't forget, Sanchez has already had experience of playing in Italy, because obviously, he spent 5 years with Udinese, of course, when he was younger and that. So he's had experience, of course, playing in Italy. So it's been fully confirmed that Sanchez has departed the football club to join Inter Milan on a 10-month loan and that. So that's a very, very good business. But he confirmed yesterday that he arrived in Milan, obviously to have his medical. He's completed his medical and that, and it's just recently confirmed that Sanchez now is an Inter Milan player for at least 10 months and that. So, so that's very, very good news about that. I have got a lot of strong reservations about our midfield and that, and I'm very, very disappointed that we didn't recommend the midfielder in throughout the course of the summer transfer window, because that was one of the priority areas, of course, where Manchester United needed to strengthen up. But I did say it was going to be extremely difficult for us to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window and that. It was good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer recommended 3 good players to the football club. We spent around £148 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, and of course on Harry Maguire. And like I said, we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far. So I'm happy that we got the experienced centre half in. I'm happy that we got the right back in, but I'm just really, really disappointed, of course, that we didn't get a midfielder in and that. But like I said, I think the vast majority of Manchester United fans, including me, and I've obviously, give Ed Woodward a lot of criticism. We've also been demanding Ed Woodward out. We've been criticising the board. We've also been demanding the Glazers out and all that. But I think, regardless of what happens this season, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job, should be safe in that. Because I think the board come to terms throughout the course of summer that they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough. But they did say at the start of the summer that they assured that, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, would have been backed. But I think the board have granted that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be backed in the next couple of windows. So furthermore investment is needed in January, probably furthermore investment is needed in that next summer and that. But we didn't get all the players that we wanted in. But I did say, certain players at a certain calibre and level would have had reservations about joining the football club and that, obviously, because we're not in a Champions League football. We've actually failed to qualify for the Champions League, 3 times out of the 6 seasons, past 6 seasons, since Alex Ferguson's retirement and that, and obviously, it's going to be hard to attract players to elite level, of course, when you haven't got many Champions League football to offer. But, Solskjaer gave his overall view on the summer transfer window, and he was delighted with our summer transfer business and that. And I think Solskjaer had spoken with Ed Woodward, He's spoken with Ed Woodward, throughout the course of summer, about a lack of business in the transfer market. But hopefully, we can get more players in the January transfer window. And I do believe, the players we was in for throughout the course of the summer, who we didn't manage to get, I think we'll probably reignite our interest in them in January. So I think we'll probably go back in for Bruno Fernandes in January. I think we may go back in for Eriksen. We could go back in for, Dybala. We could go back in, Jadon Sancho will probably wait until next summer for Jadon Sancho and that. So yeah, the players we was in for will probably, reignite our interest anywhere. But like I said, we have got big ambitions for the future and that. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, wants to get us back, to winning silverware and that, and get us back, to being a competitive elite level football club. And like I said, with the dimension of this football club, with the history of this football club, we should be up there competing and of course winning silverware and all that. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring that fear factor back to the football club, and obviously that fear factor hasn't been there, since the Alex Ferguson era and that. It hasn't been there, as we all know. Some people are doubting that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will bring that fear factor back to Manchester United. But I did say, it's going to take us at least a couple of years, in my opinion anyway, to mount any kind of title challenge up, or of course win the league and that. Because analysing our squad at the moment, isn't good enough, to win the league. I think it's definitely good enough for a top 4 finish. And I did say, our expectations this season, will be to probably, finish in that top 4, perhaps maybe win some silverware and that. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed these expectations. But I did literally say our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons anywhere. Obviously, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't exceed expectation levels this season, obviously, his job, will be under a serious threat and that. And, like I did say, I'm hopeful that it can work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I want it to work work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because we love him a lot. He knows the traditions of the club. He was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years under the Alex Ferguson era, and flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. And Solskjaer said early on this summer that he's following Alex Ferguson's philosophy and all that. But we all love him a lot, and like I did say, Solskjaer's our fourth manager, since Alex Ferguson's retirement and that. And, he's our fourth manager since Alex Ferguson's retirement and that. And, like I said, we're not really known for a sacking club. And anyway, we've already sacked 3 managers since Alex Ferguson's retirement. I did say, we haven't got the structure, to keep sacking managers and all that. But like I said, hopefully that it can work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He worked out his transfer strategy throughout the course of summer. He did basically say that he wanted to recommend number of young players to the football club, that can grow, develop, and emulate in superstars and that. But like I did say anyway, Solskjaer throughout the course of the summer anyway, was talking about our recruitment policy and analysing it. It's not too good. Prior to this summer transfer window, we haven't been competitive enough in the recent windows. We didn't get anyone in January. Obviously, reflecting back last summer, we didn't get our number 1 targets in that. But like I said, definitely good enough for the top four finisher this season is our squad. Is our current squad, and that's definitely good enough for a top 4 finish. But like I did say to you, I've got a lot of concerns about that midfield. Obviously, as well throughout the course of the summer, I was in search for a right winner and that. And with that midfield, I would have been excited of the likes of, Bruno Fernandes, playing alongside Paul Pogba and that in our midfield, because I think that they complement each other, fantastically well. But I now want want Paul Pogba to remain at the football club, especially with our failure to land a midfielder in, throughout the course of the summer and that. And, there's still uncertainty, regarding Paul Pogba's future. And don't forget, the European transfer window is opened until the 2nd of September. Obviously, it isn't long now, until the 2nd of September and that. Obviously, recently, Paul Pogba's brother has come out yet again, Matthias Pogba, and he's fueled more transfer speculation. And, he's basically said that, he knows how good his brother, would represent, Real Madrid and that, and he's basically said that Paul Pogba, could still end up, signing for Real Madrid. But it's very, very imperative now that we do keep Paul Pogba at the football club. And it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans anyway, to rebuild a side around Paul Pogba and that. Because we have seen Paul Pogba at his best as a Manchester United player. We have seen him at his best, and when he's at his best, he can score goals, he can provide, and I think you mainly see the best of Paul Pogba when he's freed up. I think he's also very, very good at feeding the attackers and that, and he's like 2 players in one, when he's at his best. I know he's been mainly inconsistent for Manchester United, Paul Pogba, since he rejoined the club from Juventus back in 2016, but to be fair to him, I think, he's started this season really, really well. I think he also did well throughout pre-season that, prior to his penalty miss against Wolves, I think overall he's done quite well this season so far. Obviously Paul Pogba, was subjected to racial abuse, following his penalty miss against Wolves and that. And I think, to be fair, I'll credit Paul Pogba in that aspect. He handled the situation quite well. But for the entirety of this summer, Paul Pogba's been widely spoken about. He's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation, and we do know he's been relentlessly linked with move to Real Madrid. And his first choice preference has been Real Madrid, and his likely destination, of course, has been Real Madrid. But I did say there's possibly a chance. I think Paul Pogba could actually now stay at the football club. I think it's obviously reflecting on the substantial amount we've put on him. Basically, that seems to be the stumbling block of him leaving the football club, because obviously, we're very adamant that Paul Pogba's not for sale anywhere. We're very, very adamant he's not for sale, but it did say if we had to sell him, we'd want around 150 or 160 million pounds. Some reports were saying that, we wanted around 180 million pounds, and, that's just over double than what we initially paid for him from Juventus back in 2016 and that. But obviously, Real Madrid have spent a substantial amount this summer. They've spent 300 million pounds on 5 players and that. Obviously, they've been working on getting, the deal over the line for Paul Pogba all summer. Zinedine Zidane has identified Paul Pogba as one of his number 1 priority targets. Obviously, Christian Eriksen's been on Madrid's agenda, but I think Real Madrid's preference is Paul Pogba over Christian Eriksen and that. Probably Christian Eriksen would be a cheaper solution for Real Madrid and that, but obviously, they do want Paul Pogba and that. And, Paul Pogba confirmed a couple of months ago, that he does want to leave Manchester United, because he actually publicly admitted this. I think this was back in June and that, and he did want to leave Manchester United to rejuvenate his career and that, did Paul Pogba. But Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, all summer basically, has been in the process of, working on getting Paul Pogba's transfer to Real Madrid secure and that. Obviously, you got Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, coming out at the start of pre-season. He basically said that, Paul Pogba is in the process of leaving the football club and that. But, throughout the course of the summer anyway, Solskjaer had spoken, to the vast majority of our players, including Paul Pogba. And obviously, he's praised Paul Pogba a lot, because Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player and that he is. Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United, with an option to extend it by a further year and that. He's not only our most expensive sign, he's also one of the highest paid players at the football club. He's also a World Cup winner as well, is Paul Pogba. I do believe, based on our failure to qualify for the Champions League, I think, was it the majority of the squad, or I think all the squad got their wages cut by 25% also. But Paul Pogba is still currently on a substantial amount. Actually, the highest paid player at the football club now is actually David De Gea, because David De Gea, of course, is on 375 grand a week. But like I said, we've got a history of spending big on players. A hell of a lot of money's been spent at the football club in the last 6 years. We've also got players on big contracts, but we can afford to do that because one of the richest clubs in the world, with a big, massive club, and of course we have got massive revenues and that. And obviously, in recent years, we've definitely overpaid for players and that. But I'm hopeful, that Paul Pogba, can remain at the football club as well. There was talks about him this summer, making a return back to Turin and that, because he did have 4 good years in Turin, did Paul Pogba. But he won't go back to Turin. If he leaves Manchester United, he'll probably, end up making the move to Real Madrid and that. But yeah, I haven't heard much more news about Paul Pogba, but if we can convince him to remain at the football club, I think we've got to try and avoid Paul Pogba getting injured this season. We've got to avoid that happening, because we haven't really got a backup to him. I know we've got the likes of McTominay. I think McTominay, will do well this season. I think he's done well alongside Paul Pogba in that midfield so far this season. I think they've complemented each other fantastically well. And with McTominay, I've got element of concerns about him. I don't know if he is the long-term solution for Manchester United, Scott McTominay. But I think he did well throughout pre-season. I think his overall started this season really, really well in that. And when he does play well, McTominay, he can play between the lines really, really well. He can defend really, really well in that. But I still don't know if he's a long-term solution for Manchester United. That's just my opinion on that. With Fred, I think Solskjaer did say at the start of the season that he expects more from Fred this season, because so far in his Man United tenure, the majority of his tenure so far with Man United, he's enjoyed a difficult time. I think Fred did well in the games he played in throughout pre-season. I think he also did well towards the back end of last season. I'll credit Fred, he never really got the opportunity under Jose Mourinho, and I thought he was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk was Fred, but he hasn't really replicated this at Man United. Obviously, he's one of our most expensive signings. We paid just under £50 million for Fred last summer. With Fred, I think he's a better solution than Matic, because I think he's more mobile and better on the ball than Matic in that. But still got some concerns about Fred, and I've got the same thoughts about Andres Pereira. I've also got some concerns about him as well. I think in the games he's played so far this season, he's looked quite impressive as well. So I have got a lot of concerns about that midfield. If I'm going to be quite honest with you as well. We've got Matic, but Matic is too inconsistent, too slow now, not getting any younger. Of course they're aging up as well. And obviously, we got Matic a couple of years ago. Don't forget, from Chelsea. We paid £40 million for him. At the time we got him anyway. He actually wasn't a first choice. There was Nemanja Matic. He was our third choice sign at the time. We did recommend him into the football club. Matic was actually first choice last season. Our first choice midfield trio last season anyway was obviously Matic, Herrera, and Pogba. And that, to be fair, they did complement each other fantastically well and all that. But like I said, with Matic, he's too slow. We have seen glimpses of how good he can be in that, but I've got a lot of strong reservations about him. So I think we need to orchestrate on getting rid of him maybe in January or perhaps next summer, because we know he's going to be remaining at the football club at now for this present time and that. But too inconsistent. And but yeah, you can still see the deficiencies in the squad. But like I said, I just want us to get back to being a competitive elite level football club. But like I said, throughout pre-season, the young players were fruition. The young players that did play throughout pre-season, they did really, really well. And I thought we did well throughout pre-season. 6 wins out of 6, 12 goals scored, only 3 goals conceded. But, we haven't had a great start to this season so far. We got off to a great start with a 4-0 victory over Chelsea. Wolves away, good in the first half, but disappointing second half against Wolves and that. But, Wolves, like I said, pretty decent team. They did well last season, did Wolves. Obviously, the record against the top six sides, of course, is very, very impressive. And they have spent, quite a bit of money in that. But yeah, so that was pretty disappointing. And, the Crystal Palace game was very, very disappointing as well. That the first time we've lost to Palace in our Premier League history. But we had a lot of chance in the Crystal Palace game. But we're still being a team that's not being clinical. We're not being clinical enough, and that's our problem. This is something we didn't do last season. Wasn't clinical enough in front of goal. Was clinical in the Chelsea game. Wasn't clinical enough in the Wolves game. Wasn't clinical enough against Crystal Palace. We had 20 odd shots against Crystal Palace and only managed to score 1 goal. We had the majority of the possession as well. Don't forget. But I'll credit Crystal Palace in that game. They did defend really, really well in that. And obviously 2 players came off injured in the Crystal Palace game and that. So we've got to get back to winning ways against Southampton. It's not going to be easy against Southampton. It's not always easy, going there to St Mary's. But we haven't lost at St Mary's, since 2003 in the Premier League, of course. So that's 16, 17 years ago now. So mainly we have got a good record against Southampton. And one of our most iconic games against Southampton at St Mary's was actually, back in 2012 when we did beat Southampton by 3-2. I think it was actually, Robin van Persie, of course, and had actually, scored an hat-trick in that game and that. But like I did say, I don't like the way the football club's been running in the last 6 or 7 years. And, a hell of a lot of money has been spent into the football club. And like I did say in the last 6 years, there has been cultural problems at Manchester United. And, like I said, £148 million has been spent this summer under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously, just under £400 million, was spent under the Jose Mourinho era. He recommended 11 players into the football club. There's still 10 of those players here now that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is inheriting. Obviously, just over £200 million was spent under the Louis van Gaal era. He brought quite a few players in. Just under £67 million, was spent under the David Moyes era and that. So that in the last 6 years, we spent just under £1 billion and that. So it just proves always spending big on players and, getting them Galactico players in doesn't always, guarantee you success. And that's been guaranteed with Man United in the last 6 years or so. If you want to take into account what we spent under Alex Ferguson, obviously, it's way over £1 billion, of course, that Man United have spent and that. And I've also been, frustrated with the lack of silverware in the last 6 years. We didn't win out under the David Moyes era. We didn't, won the FA Cup under the Louis van Gaal era back in 2016 and that. We won the Europa League and League Cup under the Jose Mourinho era. Obviously, that came in Jose Mourinho's first season and all that. But I've been frustrated with the lack of silverware and that. But hopefully it can work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think this season Solskjaer is going to mainly go with that 4-2-3-1 formation, as I do keep saying, and that I think he'll go with other formations, but I think he'll go with the 4-2-3-1 formation on a regular basis. But Solskjaer can still say he's in the process of rebuilding. Like I said, the majority of this squad is not easy and that, and I'm hopeful. I did say I'm hopeful this team now at this day and age can replicate what the team did under Alex Ferguson for 26 and 27 successful years like we did currently have. But regardless of our manager is, no one's going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy, and we're never going to be the team that was under Alex Ferguson. That's something, of course, we have got to accept in that. But I am hopeful to say that it can work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. But like I said, it's 12:30 kick-off Saturday. I think Man United, should win this game. I think it will probably, be 2-1 and that. So we know Luke Shaw's probably not going to be playing against his former club. Diego Dalot won't be participating. Martial probably won't be participating. Bay's obviously out until Christmas as well. Obviously Fosu-Mensah as well, he's a long-term absence, so we have got quite a few injuries in that, but I'm hopeful that Martial's injury is not too severe. But anyway guys, drop your comments, slides below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless guys, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.